Hello everyone watching this my first video. This YouTube channel will start operating from now on with content telling good stories on Reddit, and note that the images in the videos are fictional. There were no emergencies from the morgue. The morgue is the only place in this hospital without any emergency cases, a senior staff member at the hospital said during my first shift. That reminder has been engraved in my memory every shift throughout. 25 working here tonight as usual. I walked around to check around the place to make sure nothing unusual happened. Then I went back to my duty room and locked the door. Suddenly my phone rang. The call came from a doctor upstairs who asked to move an unfortunate patient who had unfortunately logged out of reality after a failed emergency operation half an hour ago. I asked him about the paperwork and he got grumpy again and told me to get off my ass and do my job, so I hung up. After all, that poor creature was already dead, so obviously this is not my job as an emergency police officer. Although not the most important in the hospital, I still have principles and dignity. I personally require mutual respect at work and I will not compromise in any case. The bell rang again, this time a legal expert requested to be on duty and saved for further analysis by experts. The next morning, she spoke kindly, so I opened the freezer door so she could move the body for the storage shift. It seemed sensitive. I had briefly heard about this case but didn't pay any attention. At the very least, move it to freezer number 3. After completing the sequence, we signed the handover papers and then I tightly closed the freezer door once more and the bell rang again, and this was the third time and the wrong call. Called out loud, a faint, vague voice came from the other end of the line and the person asked, "I'm not curious at all about what happened to the body in freezer number 2, friend." I answered and then hung up. This job has no room for curiosity only brings trouble. Maybe tomorrow morning when I read the newspaper I will find out why the body is in freezer number 3, but that's it for now. Suddenly there was a knocking sound coming from the room door. I touched at the security camera screen and saw that no one was there and nothing happened. I stood up from the chair and went to check to see who was knocking on the duty room door. After all, the supernatural entity was not an emergency. Immediately after that, there was a loud banging sound coming from the other side of the wall. I checked each camera screen one by one and realized that in the freezer room, freezer door number 3 was widely open while the other freezer doors were all slightly closed. Their corpses were crawling out, some growling angrily, others hissing shrill sounds. They used their rotting bodies to push the door, trying to escape from the freezer room. They laughed sarcastically, their liquids and body parts were scattered all over the room. See Team 5, tomorrow morning the experts will have an interesting day, but the souls returning from the dead are not on the list of emergencies. I yawned, my biological clock signaled me that it was time to go to bed, and within a few moments I quickly fell asleep. When I woke up from the alarm, it was already 7 a.m. At this time, a team of 5 experts were present, all wearing special protective suits. I saw some people even holding guns, trying to rush in, trying to pin down the lifeless corpses. Using superhuman skills, he then dragged them down onto the autopsy table. I sat and watched them work and felt excited. I always told my colleagues that if unfortunately a triumph event happened, I would like to become a member of the 5th Emergency Response Team, but currently, I'm just a duty officer, so taking care of my work is enough. Team 5 arrived in the morning at 8 o'clock. I showed them the surveillance camera and through each frame it can be seen that the experts were still busy solving the mess, so we decided to go for coffee, get high. I quickly wrote down the events that happened last night in the report book, and finally I concluded the report with a line saying there was no emergency.